Texans Cowboys got a little off-season beef going, but is Texas the most intriguing state in the NFL in 2024? Let's go inside the locker room. Got a lot to get into. Also hear from Brevin Jordan, as well as some other coaches around the league. Let's get it.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker.
All right, so the Houston Texans, Dallas Cowboys, we know they got a little bit of beef going on, the 45 rivalry. I think Texans fans probably hate Cowboys fans more than the other way around. But there is some beef up 45. But here's my question of the night here in the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. Which state has the most intriguing NFL storylines in 2024? Is it the state of Texas? There's 7 states, and we're talking about the states that have multiple football teams. Is it the state of Texas, or is it somewhere else? We'll get into all that. We'll also be sure to rank it all. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Be sure to subscribe, right along. I know it is a slow time around here. If you checked out the CJ Stroud, How 5 Things Have Changed video, appreciate you for that. Tomorrow, going to get into a deeper connection between one of the most polarizing moves that Nick Caserio has made in recent history, and it has nothing to do with CJ Stroud. Probably going to drop that one about 9 or 10 a.m. Central, so be on the lookout for that. So let's get into this, though. Which state that has multiple teams has the most intriguing 2024 storylines? We'll start with the state of Texas, and we'll lay out the case, and we'll work our way down. In Texas, you have the Texans and the Cowboys. Now, regardless of how you feel about the Cowboys, there's always national attention. There's always drama. ESPN spends 50% of the time talking about them, whether they're good or not. So that's always going to move the needle. You also have Mike McCarthy, who's kind of a dead coach walking. You have Dak Prescott in the final year of his deal. And then you have one of the hottest teams in the league, which is one that we're very familiar with, the Houston Texans. You have one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. You have the intrigue. You have a lot of pressure. You have a lot of expectations, a very active offseason. And, oh, by the way, these two teams play each other on a Monday night. And you already have the back and forth between David Mulligeta clients, CJ Stroud, and Micah Parsons. So you have that element. You also have the Diggs brothers. The state of Texas is a very, very intriguing, and it's a solid 1 seed in this 7-state matchup that we have. Cowboys speak for itself. Texans, obviously one of the more exciting teams in the league right now, and you have the Texans intrigue along with the Cowboys storylines that add to that. Different reasons. CJ Stroud, you're wondering about the future. Dak Prescott, you're wondering if it's going to end. Mike McCarthy, you're wondering who's going to replace him. D'Amico Ryans, you're wondering how he's going to follow up on his near coach of the year in year 1. Moving on to Florida, and be sure to subscribe, right along. Get your opinions in here. I appreciate all of y'all for coming through. It is the slow time of the year. Tyler already making a case. I'll get to that in a sec. By the way, Brandon, this is kind of this is a little bit of an interesting thing. The Giants and Jets are technically in New Jersey. So the Bills are the only team in New York. So it's going to be New Jersey with the Jets and the Giants. So that might change the way that you look at this whole thing. So we have the case for the state of Texas. El Mario, thanks for the editing of the language. This is a family-ish, not really, program. Now we move to the state of Florida. A team in the Texans division, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Duval. This could be an okay football team, and I'm not sitting here saying that the Jags are just completely boring and there's not any storylines. I think Doug Peterson could be an under-the-radar kind of hot seat type of candidate or at least have the possibility of setting himself up to be on the hot seat of all in 2025. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think that the ceiling that we anticipated when he came into the league is even attainable. Is he going to get paid? Who knows? They made some moves all over the place. But are the Jags really exciting? Like, do you put the Jags in their drama? Do you put Trevor Lawrence above CJ Stroud and Dak Prescott? Does that really excite you? Do you think that their ceiling is really that high? I'm obviously probably a little bit more interested in the Jags than the average NFL fan because we always localize it in here and we talk about the Texans, but who gives a damn about the Jags really? Like, is anyone sitting there dying to see the Jags? I don't think so. I don't think too many people are doing that. C Murder says king of localizing. He is I, and that is me. No doubt. Someone brought up McNair's growth as an owner. We'll talk about that for sure. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. So the Jags, okay, whatever. I probably care more than most people. The Bucks, look, I like Todd Bowles. I like what Baker Mayfield did. I'm happy for him that he earned his new contract. Mike Evans, there was talk that he might end up in Houston. He stays in Tampa Bay, so he's going to finish his career there. Do you care about the Bucks? Not really. I don't. And then the Dolphins. The Dolphins are interesting. Tua kind of in that situation where he's going to get paid. They have the Tyreek Hill situation, which it seems like it's always kind of something new each week. Got to wonder if he's going to want a new contract. But even the Dolphins, I'm not saying they bore me, but the Dolphins are a good squad. We're going to get to see them in December when they take on the Texans. There's a lot of speed. I like Mike McDaniel. It's just not really as exciting as the Texans and Cowboys. So Florida, there's some intriguing storylines, but I don't know that it really moves the needle. You can make a case almost that the Florida NFL scene is kind of stale in 2024. Doesn't really do much for me personally. And again, this is all subjective depending on what you think. Now let's go to California. Let's go to Cali. Let's go to the West Side. The Chargers, Rams, and 49ers. This one is going to be interesting to say the least because I am a big fan of Jim Harbaugh, and it's hard not to. When you actually look at what Jim Harbaugh has done in his career, and let's just pull up the Wikipedia, it's actually pretty effing fascinating when you actually get the visual of it. Because I know we kind of remember it, and it got a little bit stale, and it kind of fell apart on the back end in San Francisco. But if you just look at his NFL resume, and I'll pull it up right here, Jim Harbaugh, I'll make it bigger. Pause. He goes to the NFC Championship in year one. He goes 13-3. That was with Alex Smith. That was when they had the muff punt against the Giants. He goes back to the NFC Championship and goes to the Super Bowl. He's a cap to Crabtree touchdown away or pass away from winning that Super Bowl. Remember when the lights went out too. And then he goes back to the NFC Championship game and goes 12-4. He only had one off season, and it was 8-8. So Jim Harbaugh in 4 seasons, he never had a losing season. He went 44-19. He went 5-3 in the playoffs. In 3 out of 4 years, he went to an NFL, a conference championship game. I think the Chargers are the most intriguing squad in all of California. I don't even think it's really close. I don't know that they have the weapons to be able to win at a high level, but the Chargers getting into the playoffs or Jim Harbaugh going out there and winning, I think stranger things have happened than that. I am a big believer in Jim Harbaugh, and I know some of you are probably you knew that he was good in the NFL, but when you look and see that, I mean, that's just insane to see what Jim Harbaugh did in his 4 years. It's actually pretty damn. Here is Jim Harbaugh. Here's just a little snippet of Jim Harbaugh, and just kind of what you're getting, the character coming into the league, Jim Harbaugh.
About 3:34 in the morning, woke up, staring straight at the ceiling, and said to myself, "It's not just another day; it's today." And maybe that's just another way of saying, "Attack this day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind." But yeah, it was a great day.
Crazy ass dude. I think the answer to the question below is yes. I think the Chargers are the most intriguing 2024 Cali squad. I think they're going to be, if the Texans do get into that next tier consistently, I think eventually they're going to find their way there with Justin Herbert, and I think Jim Harbaugh is going to win. As far as the other teams in the state, you have the San Francisco 49ers, who've kind of set a little bit of a standard. It kind of seems like they're on that treadmill where they can't get the job done and can't hoist the Lombardi. And then you have the Rams. Are the Rams rebuilding? What are we doing here? Matthew Stafford, he's kind of on the back end. You got really, really good slot receivers. Aaron Donald just retired. Like, what exactly are we doing there? There is a little bit of drama, though, in San Francisco with Brandon Ayuk. Here's Kyle Shanahan being asked, courtesy of 95.7 The Game, being asked about Brandon Ayuk.
Kyle, up to this point, when we've asked you about Brandon, you said it's voluntary. And in similar situations the last 4 years, people in contract situations have been here for the mandatory minicamp. Does your view change on Brandon and his status with the team now that this is mandatory and he's not here?
No, to me, it doesn't change at all. I mean, you find out when guys are in those situations where they come or not, and some guys come because they want to avoid a fine, and some don't. But regardless, it doesn't change anything. When those guys have come, it's not like we know what the process is, we know what the business part is, and that's just how they decide how they want to handle this week.
All right, so there you go. And it is going to be interesting with Brandon Ayuk, because as we localize it here in the locker room, the latest report from I think Pro Football Talk and out in California is that Ayuk actually turned down Nico Collins' money or bread. $26 million a year apparently was not enough for him. So, I thought that Ayuk was kind of in that Nico Collins range, and that would be, valid. The Devontae Smith / Waddle-ish area. But apparently Brandon Ayuk wants more than $26 million. Maybe it's something that they can't fix, but he's not showing up, and you have that to add to the intrigue. So California, we've gone through Texas. We have the Cowboys and Texans. We've gone through Florida. We have Jags, Bucks, Dolphins, which is really stale to me. And then California, Jim Harbaugh, the Rams, and the 49ers. So that's 3 states with multiple NFL teams. Next one, New Jersey. You know that there's always going to be that New York attention. It's kind of Cowboys-ish. The Jets and the Giants. To me, this is the tale of two situations. The Jets, you could make a case the Jets are one of the most interesting teams in the league this year. It's all or nothing with Aaron Rodgers. He's in his 40s. He's coming off the torn Achilles. There's all types of drama. There's all types of pressure. Robert Saleh, one of D'Amico Ryan's close friends and mentors, he's trying to figure something out, and it's really kind of make or break for the Jets. And, oh, by the way, Aaron Rodgers isn't even showing up to voluntary or non-voluntary activities. And Robert Saleh, no one even knew this was going to happen. They could have gotten out in front of this. They did not. And then Robert Saleh had to face the media and say this.
Is Hassan Reddick attending minicamp?
No, so we've got 2 inexcused absences. One obviously being Hassan. Spoke to him over the weekend. Appreciate the dialogue. He's in a really good place mentally, working his tail off like we already know, and but he's choosing to sit out this one, inexcused. The second one is Aaron.
Okay, let's get to that.
Aaron and I spoke before OTA started.
We'll bury the lead,
He's
Coach.
been very good in communication. He's been here the entire time. It's inexcused, but he had an event that was very important to him, which he communicated.
Okay. Thanks, Coach. Seems kind of weird to me, but all right. So there you have that. So the Jets thing I think is interesting. So we've gone through Texas, Florida, California, New Jersey. It's boom or bust for the Jets. Texans are going to take on the Jets. We're going to get to check that out as well. A lot of connections in that game, man. You want to talk about connections? Sauce and Stingley, Sala and D'Amico. One of his mentors, CJ Stroud, returns to the place where he had his concussion. There's all types of connections there with that game, and that's going to be there's going to be so many local stories and so much fun to be had when that one happens. And I think that, again, the Aaron Rodgers boomer bust thing, that's one of the more intriguing stories. So I think that's a strong case. However, does anyone really care about the Giants? Like, do you care about Daniel Jones? Like the situation with Daniel Jones? You know, there's no ceiling for that. Brian Dable did a very good job 2 years ago, but then if you do a good job with a minimal asset, but then you turn that minimal asset into a non-minimal asset by paying it and rewarding it as if it's not a minimal asset, then you're kind of putting yourself in a weird spot. Like, nobody saw Daniel Jones play 2 years ago when Saquon was their best player and said, you know what, that guy's really figuring it out. It's going to be great with the Giants. So the Daniel Jones situation, it's almost a wash in New York because I think the Jets could be the most exciting team. I know the Giants were going to get spoon-fed them in prime time, but nobody gives a damn about the Giants, really, at least around here. That's just kind of one of those things that you just keep getting kind of spoon-fed. Cebu says, I think the Niners are still top in the league. They could go back this year. Yeah, but is that intriguing? You know, just because they're good doesn't mean it's intriguing. When I'm talking intriguing, I'm talking about exciting storylines. Like, it's almost like Baltimore. Baltimore is one of the best organizations in the league. They've had some ups and downs. And last year you knew they were a good team, but were you really like excited to watch the Baltimore Ravens? By the way, I saw that Justin Tucker said he's spending more time in the weight room to get ready to tackle guys on this new kickoff. Is that really something that the Ravens want? I would not want a guy who wins me a couple games a year with his leg going out there trying to tackle. Furthermore, I saw Justin Tucker at UT when he was a underclassman trying to be a multi-footed rugby punter, and that got a little bit out of control. So, yeah, the 49ers might be good, but I don't know that means that that's an intriguing thing. So New Jersey, Jets, Giants, Let's go to Ohio. Ohio is interesting. You have the Browns and Bengals. Deshaun Watson, Joe Burrow, both looking to bounce back in 2024. Last year, the Texans defeated Joe Burrow on the road, ended up getting hurt. The wrist apparently kind of taking it a little bit slow right now. Same thing with Deshaun. Deshaun had the injury, wasn't playing very well. And then he had the injury. I actually think these are two very intriguing storylines. And maybe, I mean, you can make a case that the Deshaun thing is more intriguing than Aaron Rodgers because you have that long commitment to him, that expensive commitment to him. And there's a lot of question marks and there's a lot of pressure. So I think the state of Ohio, if you look at the two quarterbacks and what they're trying to do, I think the state of Ohio is extremely intriguing. And the Texans, they're not really going to have to deal with any of these guys, at least not during the season. But if you do get in the playoffs, then you might be able to see some of those guys. It'll be interesting to see how the Browns look, how Deshaun looks, and if it continues to look like one of the worst trades and contracts in NFL history, or maybe he finds his way back. Because at full strength, especially, we don't know what's going to happen with Nick Chubb, but at full strength, I mean, that you can make a case the quarterback really doesn't have to do a lot there. They also have Amari Cooper kind of holding out for a contract situation. But I think the Ohio situation with Deshaun and Joe Burrow looking to bounce back. You have T. Higgins as well. He wasn't at non-voluntary. Jamar Chase was. That's a really, really intriguing state situation. Now we go to Pennsylvania. We have the Eagles and the Steelers. The coach that is on the hottest seat this season is Nick Sirianni. Don't know what happened last year. When you lay out his resume, it's extremely impressive. But Nick Sirianni, you fire your coordinators. You have all the drama that you had going on last year. That's going to be interesting to see. It's also going to be interesting to see how our local guy, Jalen Hurts, bounces back from last year. It was a tough year for him last year. And I don't know if he hit a wall. It seemed like he was physically pretty roughed up. And it seemed like something there was going on to where everybody just kind of seemed like they were in a little bit of a funk. But Pennsylvania Eagles, a lot of intrigue, the coach that's most on the hot seat. And then you have the Steelers. Who cares? I mean, it's Russell Wilson. I guess that's intriguing. Justin Fields. Mike Tomlin seems like he's been there my entire life. He just got an extension. Good for him. But do the Steelers really excite you? I'm not saying that doesn't mean they can't be good, but I'm not dying to watch the Steelers. I will say, though, and I think y'all would agree with this, Nick Sirianni is on the hottest seat in 2024. I don't even know if it's close. Like Mike McCarthy, I don't even consider it a hot seat because I think it's just obvious that he's gone after this year. Sirianni, I could see Sirianni finding his rhythm again and being around for a little bit, but I don't see any scenario like as far as hot seat. I mean, are you really going to bring back Mike McCarthy? It almost seems like the Cowboys are kind of rebuilding and doing so conservatively before they pay Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb. They don't want to spend any money. So I think Sirianni's on the hottest of all seats. I'm very intrigued by the Steelers, whether they're good or not. Interesting. I'm not really. Is Doug Peterson on the hot seat? I don't know. I think he should be based on how they melted down last year. But I don't know if they're the type of team that's going to really drop the hammer. So, and Trevor Lawrence seems to like him. And Trevor Lawrence, they got to pay him. They got to make him happy. Who knows? But that's Pennsylvania. We have the Eagles and Steelers. Then we go to Maryland. Ravens and Commanders. Ravens are going to be good. Ravens have beaten the Texans twice. They beat them to start last season. They beat them to end last season. Lamar Jackson's coming off the MVP. Lamar Jackson's apparently putting on weight. They got Derrick F. Henry on their squad. So you're no longer watching the Titans, watching one of the biggest Texans killers of all time on the far right or left of your screen. Ravens are a good team. They're just kind of there for me. They're going to be in the mix, but I know what Lamar Jackson is. I guess I'm intrigued to see what Derrick Henry looks like there. But as far as the Ravens go, okay, good. They're going to be nice. Cool. Commanders, it'll be interesting to see what Daniels is as a rookie quarterback. Dan Quinn's their head coach. That's kind of blah. But who knows what happens with Daniels? Maybe one of these rookies kind of busts onto the scene like CJ did last year. Daniels is somewhat intriguing, but as far as an intriguing state, I would say Maryland kind of meh. So we'll get to my rankings at the end of this video. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along. It is the Locker Room here on YouTube. Slow news day for sure, but that doesn't mean that the content doesn't come out. So I'm going to ask you this. You give me your rankings. I'll give you mine at the end. Which state has the most intriguing storylines? Again, Texas with the Texans and Cows, Florida with the Jags, Bucks, and Dolphins, California with the Chargers, Rams, and 49ers, New Jersey with the exciting Jets and the blah Giants, Ohio with the Browns and Bengals. That's a toughie. And then Pennsylvania with Sirianni on the hot seat in Philly and Mike Tomlin overseeing a squad with Russ Wilson and Justin Fields in the quarterback room. And then Maryland, you got the Ravens and the Commanders. So that should be really, really interesting for sure. Let me know what y'all what y'all think. I'm gonna give my rankings at the end. Most intriguing football state with multiple squads. Bill O'Brien, I thought this was interesting. Bill O'Brien is claiming that he regrets being the GM of the Houston Texans. And look, first of all, you should be. But here's the problem with Bill O'Brien and the way that he's presenting this. He's presenting this as if they just randomly came up to him and they said, "Hey, Bill, we want you to be the general manager. We would really like for you to be the GM of the team, and we want you to negotiate contracts. We want you to make trades. We want you to take on this responsibility." That's how it's kind of being presented in the interview, which was a fantastic interview. It was with a couple of his former players. Here's the problem. Bill O'Brien butted heads with multiple general managers. He won power struggles with multiple general managers. He wanted to have a big hand in personnel. He wanted to have a big hand in doing stuff, but he didn't want accountability. I remember when we were on the radio, and it's kind of crazy, but we were talking about there needs to be some sort of accountability for the sake of the fans because fans were losing trust. And shortly after that, later on in the day, Cal McNair actually came out and put out a statement. And we know that Cal and Hannah listened to In the Loop. I don't know if they still do, but they did. But they then came out and they made, and I heard that there were other conversations about it, but they gave Bill O'Brien the title because it's accountability. Like, that would be like for Bill O'Brien to come out and say, "I didn't want that." That would be like someone with a company handling all the accounting and handling all the books, but not having the title, but still being able to do it. And then basically pointing at nothing and saying, "This is the reason why it happened." So I get what Bill's trying to say, but it's kind of clear he's not completely being honest with what he did behind the scenes, how he handled himself, and the reality of the situation. I thought that was a little bit strange for Bill O'Brien to present it that way and basically act like he just randomly got asked to be a GM. Not that he was not admitting that he was actually trying to do all this stuff. F and Hawk says, FOB, he wormed his way through the bleep and came up on top until he got turned out by the POS. Yes, sir. That's 100% true. I just thought that was a weird thing for Bill O'Brien. Still not very accountable to what actually happened, but kind of is what it is. Another question here in the locker room. Again, be sure to subscribe, like, right along. We'll get to the rankings of the best football situations in a sec, but I want to have a little stock showdown with y'all. We've talked a lot about CJ, Diggs, Dell, Collins, Will Anderson, D'Amico Ryans, Joe Mixon. We've talked a lot about all of the guys that you anticipate being starters and being impact players on this 2024 squad. But what about some of the guys that are kind of under the radar, guys who really haven't produced? Hell, guys who could end up not making the squad. I think one of them will, but guys that maybe could surprise you. I'm talking about Brevin Jordan and John Mechie. They've been getting a lot of love this offseason. If you had to pick one, whose stock are you buying? Are you buying Brevin Jordan stock or are you buying John Mechie stock? Which one would you buy? Now, Mechie's going into his third year. We know what happened the first year. He had the torn ACL and he had to go through the leukemia last year, kind of trying to get his legs under him. Brevin Jordan, third season last year, didn't know if he was going to make the squad, ended up making the squad, ended up making some big plays. Which one are you buying when it comes to the stock of either one of those guys? Are you buying Mechie or are you buying Brevin Jordan? Grappa says he's going Jordan by a mile. I think that Brevin Jordan is going to be a really, really interesting situation because, first of all, he adds an element that you don't necessarily have, kind of has like a running back skill set at the tight end position. You have a few guys that you hope can block. And also, he's in that, wait for it, 2 words, contract year. Let's hear Brevin Jordan. He was on with Mark Vandermeer and John Harris. And just listen to this intensity. Watch this intensity. This is him talking about heading into year 2 with the greats, Mark Vandermeer and John Harris.
I'm here, man. I've been here since February, just getting to it, just making sure the small details on my body are right. I took like a 2-week break. I went to Costa Rica for like 5 days, 6 days, and came back. And I've been here. I've been at like pretty much at OTAs. I've been here with the training staff. So I'm excited, man. But during this break, I'm about to take like a 4-day break, and I'm right back here.
Wow.
Yeah.
You going
right
home? You going to Vegas?
Nah, man. I don't go back to Vegas, man. I love Vegas, but only time I go back to Vegas is just to get some mama's home cooked food.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's no need for me to really be there.
Man, I told Mark he's got to watch this on HBO Max. They've got a 4-part documentary. It's called Vegas, the building of Sin City. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see that city kind of built up the way that it was.
For sure.
You came in here as a rookie in 2021. Now you come in here as a grizzled vet going into year 4. It's amazing to think about. And you talked about being here to work and the transformation of your body. If you think back to your rookie year and you think back to where you are now, what's been kind of your focus? Is it to get bigger? Is it to get more ripped? Is it to be more flexible? What is it that you wanted to get with your body? If you think back to your rookie year and what you were and what you are now, what is it that you wanted to, what was your goal?
The goal was to ultimately be a better football player. That was the end goal. Just working on stuff like your flexibility, your mobility, your strength, all of that stuff is a combination to ultimately be a better football player. You know what I mean? So for my rookie year, man, it's crazy. I look back to my rookie year and I was like, man, I feel like I didn't know anything, bro. And I don't mean like literally, but like, it's just like, I feel like I was a deer in the headlights, bro. And like now being in the building, being a vet, like you said, I'm a vet now. It's like, man, you learn so much, and I've just appreciated, being in this building, man, because I've had a lot of vets come in and out of this building, and just overall, man, my mind, my body, everything from my rookie year has definitely improved.
All right, there you go. It's Brevin Jordan. So it's going to be interesting to see how he looks, how they use him, all that type of stuff. If y'all are relying on blocking, I don't know if that's the right approach, though, to be completely honest. Did y'all want CJ Stroud to be on the Madden cover? He was a candidate. Looks like it's not going to happen. Did y'all, first of all, are kids even getting hard copies anymore? We've had this conversation. We know about the Madden jinx. We hear about it all the time. Did y'all really want CJ Stroud to be on the Madden cover? I'm sure it would be a great honor for him, for sure. Jinx or not. But did y'all want to see CJ Stroud on the Madden cover? Really? Yes, Brevin Jordan can work on his blocking, but I don't know. Brandon says no. Hell no. Madden curse. No MVP curse. So there you go. I mean, look at all this. This is nope. Didn't want to see him on it. No. Is there anyone that did? No. Tyler says, I don't do the hard covers, but I would have grabbed this hard cover. But no, I didn't want it. Not worth the risk. Man, y'all are some superstitious mofos. That Madden jinx is a real thing. Not right now, at least. What do you want to wait till they win like a Super Bowl or something like that? Yeah, that's what Mr. Farrow said. Hell no. Didn't want him on the list. NF. I want to see CJ on the Super Bowl stage. Okay, Hardo. Rock. Hell yeah. Not going to lie. CJ's mouth got to be watering with what he has. I think you're talking about his weapons. No, not the curse. Eventually he has to be. Hell no. I mean, people don't want that. Someone said he heard CJ doesn't like Madden. I don't know. I could see CJ being one of those dudes who competitively plays Madden and just thinks it's so unrealistic and stupid that he just like gets rid of it and stops playing because he just thinks it's so ridiculous. I could easily see CJ being one of those dudes. Like, man, come on, this is realistic. You're cheating now. This is a glitch. I could see him doing that. And quite frankly, that's why I quit playing Madden, for being honest. Not a big fan of how hard it is now, man. It's a little too difficult. Might be a little bit too much. Little news for the Texans in the offseason. Sean McVay announced that the Texans will have joint practices with the Rams. So we talk about those joint practices often. Some people think they're actually more valuable than preseason games. Last year, they didn't really do it. Maybe D'Amico just didn't think they were ready, kind of wanted to have full control. Or they did with the Dolphins, excuse me, but they didn't do it as much. But you're going to get a little practice with the Rams. That'll be interesting to see for sure. I saw Sketch. Someone says you see Sketch and Mike Ron play Madden. I saw him play Vontez Burfict, and that was freaking hilarious. Sketch and Mixon played? Oh, Micron, Mixon. Who won? Who won? Okay, CJ says it's fake football. Yeah, I could easily see him doing that with Madden. Who won between Sketch and Mixon? Let me know. Will I be in LA? Maybe not. I'll be in Cleveland for sure when they practice there. No doubt. Will McVay, what's up, T-Mill? Will McVay be able to recite every play after Rams Texans? Yeah, he can recite everything, man. He can recite what he ordered for dinner back in 2016. He's crazy like that. Sicko. Raul Garcia, the only way I'd like it is if CJ's walking down a Houston highway and on the exit sign says Super Bowl and he's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, my friend. At all. Okay, Sketch won. What was the score? What was the score between Sketch and Mixon? I didn't even know Mixon played the game. I think Titus Howard does, right? He has like a Twitch or whatever. I didn't even know he played the game. Going back to the Mechie thing, GOH713. We've seen glimpses of Mechie. I love Mechie, but there's little footage. But as far as Brevin Jordan has improved, more receptions, more plays. Yeah, I think Brevin Jordan's interesting. Trade bait for Brevin Jordan. They picked up Stover. Besides Quintariano, going to go all pro. Man, I've been on Quintariano for like it's been hard for me to quit believing in Quintariano, but it is becoming a little bit easier for sure. At all. Landry knows I'm answering his questions. Never knows I'm answering his questions. Oh, okay. My bad, dude. I'm asking a lot. Quincy, Quandre Diggs, and Justin Simmons just floating around the universe. Hope Simmons doesn't end up on the Colts. That could very well happen. And look, these guys, these guys don't want to go to camp. I mean, these free agents, these guys, they don't want to go to training camp. Like even JJ Watt. JJ Watt wants to play football. He damn sure doesn't want to do training camp. Hell, he does his own hardo workout every day. So who knows? Sting and Petrie play the game. I wonder who's better between them two. I could see those two playing a lot of Madden. All right, Sketch won by 2 touchdowns. Sketch ran it all the way to the house twice. Okay. Were they both the Texans? How did that work? That would be interesting. What's a sleeper for a tough luck Texans roster departure after the 24 season, not named Diggs, that we may get hurt from? I don't know. I mean, I don't think they don't have too many guys coming up that would really cost you. They're a young squad. They have the guys under control. The tackles are set. The interior line is set. If we're talking about next year, you're going to have Tank and Nico. They're going to be set. Stingley's going to have another year left and a year on top of that if you pick up the option. Petrie's going to be in year 4. I don't even know if that's a big deal or not. Harris is going to be heading into the final year. There's really not a lot of tough departures. Like this roster is kind of set up, not just for this year, but it's set up for next year as well. No doubt, for sure. So we'll see how all that goes. Going back to the rankings, the most intriguing NFL states, and I'll get into some wacky ass stuff that I saw as well going on outside of the world of sports. I'll touch on that a little bit. During the season, you'll regularly hear me in some way, shape, or form. You'll see me on here. The stream continues at 10:30, but you'll you'll hear me or see me somewhere, and I'll be at every practice, I can assure you. And we got a lot lined up for that. So we'll touch on that type of stuff. Kind of just enjoying building the stream right now in the downtime in June. But the most intriguing NFL states with multiple rosters. Before I get to it, let's get to some of the comments on this. T.O., Texas and Ohio are probably the only states in this conversation. Bengals versus Browns for AFC dominance. Houston versus Dallas, potential Super Bowl showdown. BH, New York, because Bills and Jets hate each other. Again, it's New Jersey, sir. Jets or Jersey. McNair's growth as an owner, really remarkable. I mean, the situation got better. He was kind of thrown to the wolves early on, so no doubt. Let's get to the rankings, though. Most intriguing NFL states with multiple teams. Number 7, Florida. I don't really care about the Jags. That's not exciting. Like, no one thinks Trevor Lawrence is all of a sudden going to become elite. Like, the notion that could happen, that's gone. Nobody believes in that. Nobody outside of Jacksonville really believes in that. So that's kind of boring. I mean, not from a local perspective, but from a national perspective. Baker Mayfield, okay, nice job last year. There's no ceiling there either. And then the Dolphins, they're exciting-ish, but wake me up when that's done. So number 7, Florida. Number 6, Maryland. Baltimore, you're good. Washington, you're not. But Washington does have an intriguing rookie quarterback that we haven't seen, which I think is somewhat intriguing. Baltimore's kind of same old, same old. You know, they're going to be good. And then it's just going to be a matter of once they get to the playoffs, can they get it done? We've seen what Lamar Jackson's done in the playoffs. Outside of that one game against the Texans, hadn't been great. Number 5, Pennsylvania. Nick Sirianni is on the hottest of all seats. Pittsburgh, you got Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin will be still coaching them when I'm dead, and he'll probably be about 102 years old out there coaching. He's probably going to be Joe Paterno. He'll probably be the oldest coach in the history of Pennsylvania, surpassing Joe Paterno. That's how long Mike Tomlin's going to be there. He's going to be like, you remember when Joe Paterno used to like coach in the booth and he's barely paying attention? That's probably what Mike Tomlin's going to do, because that dude is a very, very good coach, and he's very, very reliable and has all that longevity. Number 4, New Jersey. The Jets and the Giants. Look, the Jets are one of the most intriguing teams in the league. The Giants are one of the most boring. Daniel Jones, okay, like what's he going to, like, even in a best case scenario, what are we talking about? A repeat of 2 years ago? Oh, you don't have Saquon Barkley? That's going to be a little bit more difficult. They're one of the more boring teams in the league. And the thing that sucks the most about the Giants is, for whatever reason, they get put on TV so damn much that you get so bored of them. The Jets, you can roll your eyes at the Aaron Rodgers drama, but you can't tell me that that's not exciting and intriguing. That's pretty freaking intriguing to see if a guy can come back from Achilles in his 40s. They got a lot of star power. Actually have a pretty good roster around him. Robert Saleh on the hot seat. Locally, you have an uncanny amount of connections. So number 4, we'll go New Jersey. Number 3, let's go Cali. California, San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers, you've got to put them up there. Jim Harbaugh I think Jim Harbaugh is gonna get them on the right track. Is he gonna be able to do it right away? Perhaps not, but would it shock me to see the Chargers in the playoffs? No, it would not. Do they have enough weapons will be the question. San Francisco, you got the Ayuk drama. You got the quest to get over that hump, which is a really, really difficult hump to get over. Is Christian McCaffrey going to hold up? We know they're going to be good. And then the Rams. What are the Rams, man? I mean, whenever you count them out, it seems like they kind of sneak their way into the playoffs. Matthew Stafford, he's kind of on the back end, one of the tougher quarterbacks. We heard what CJ had to say about him. California is an intriguing state. I will say, though, despite the fact you have a coach who's won a Super Bowl somewhat recently and a coach who's been in multiple Super Bowls, the most intriguing story in that entire state and the most intriguing coach is the one that just returned to the NFL in Jim Harbaugh. I'm keeping a close eye on that. Number 2, Ohio. Deshaun Watson. We know him really, really well around here. We know what Deshaun Watson is about. Hey, shout out to my man in California. Hey, we're worldwide in here. Shout out to H and Raw. Appreciate you for coming through. Be sure to subscribe and like, and I appreciate you for coming through. Patty, California dreaming, no doubt. Ohio though, Joe Burrow. I think the last time he was on the field, he was losing to the Texans. He was losing to C.J. Stroud and the Texans. You remember the Noah Brown play, the Dalton Schultz play on 3rd down before that, the early Derek Stingley beat in coverage play. Matt Amendola coming in and barely making that field goal right there to avoid overtime. One of the more exciting games of last season. Really kind of, I would say, when you started kind of believing, okay, they might have a little something. They might have a little something. Remember, CJ threw the interception, perhaps his worst interception of the year. Bobby Slowick had a couple of suspect short yardage plays, but they found a way to win the game. That was when you kind of knew. That was the last time we saw Joe Burrow. And then you have the Deshaun Watson situation. What's Deshaun going to be? Is he going to validate their trust in him? Is he going to have to do a lot? Who knows? I think that's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. So number 2 would be Ohio. Number 1, I don't think I'm being biased here. It's Texas. Cowboys are the Cowboys, and it's very polarizing. So you have Dak Prescott, the final year of his deal. You have Mike McCarthy, dead coach walking. He might get fired midseason, for all we know. They're getting that ready for somebody. And then you have the Texans. Look, it was tough when I first started this channel. And you had to talk about Lovie Smith, and you were rooting for losses and all that type of stuff. And it was Bryce or bust. Guilty as charged. But now everybody seems to be excited about the Texans in some way, shape, or form, whether they have a strong opinion that they're not going to be able to write the checks that or cash the checks that they've wrote, whether it's talking about them being a dark horse, et cetera. The Texans are exciting. So I would say the state of Texas is the most intriguing, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Monday night when those two teams face off. Let me know what your most intriguing states are. Put that in there. How is that head of California? Fair question. Fair question. I think San Francisco has just kind of reached a point where there's not as much like it just depends how you look at intrigue. San Francisco's to the point where I expect them to be there. If they're not, then okay. If they are, then okay. Let's see if they can get it done. The Rams, are you really excited about watching the Rams at this point? Do you feel pumped about that? I'm really not at all, for sure. I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, dead coach walking. We know that. We know Mike McCarthy's gone. There you go. Yeah, talking about Lovey. Wasn't fun, man. Wasn't fun. Sad thing is it was an upgrade, though. That's the sad thing, is that it was an upgrade. Final couple things I'm going to touch on before I get out of here. Tomorrow, be on the lookout for the video. It's going to drop around 9 or 10 a.m. On top of the night stream. A connection to one of Caserio's biggest trades that connects one of the Texans' biggest rivals in more ways than one, and one of the more polarizing players in the entire NFL. But first, just a couple of random ass stories that have crossed the timeline. Kind of had the internet going nuts there for sure. Number one, they're talking about the hot dog champ being suspended. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, is it not blatantly obvious that this is another PR stunt? Like when they tried to act like the hot dog contest wasn't going to happen, and all of a sudden they went out there. You're telling me they're not going to put their main attraction out there? Also, it's a disgusting ass contest too. It is absolutely disgusting. I don't know how people attend that. I think it's gross as hell. They're putting the hot dogs in milk. I don't even think you should be allowed to do that. But the hot dog champ, Joey Chestnut, could be suspended or banned from the hot dog eating contest because of a conflict in sponsorship. Okay. I strongly doubt that. You're not fooling me with that fake story. Next thing, Young Thug's lawyer sentenced to 10 weekends in jail. I have a couple of questions about when you get sentenced to weekends in jail. And I don't know, some of you guys might have spent some weekends in jail. Number one, do they give you like a breathalyzer before you go in, or can you just go in like really hammered and then just pass out and chill? Question number one. Question number two, what time do you have to check in? How exactly does that work with the when it comes to the jail? Maybe some of y'all can educate me on that. Or maybe you really don't want to admit that, which I would understand. Texas needs 2 more teams in football. Yeah, I don't know about that, my friend. Don't know about that, my friend. Okay, so if you go in hammered, you can catch another case. Okay, so I'm sure that they don't. Now, do you have to actually use the breathalyzer, or can you just kind of play it off and keep it strong? Young Costa might have missed it. You see Bill O'Brien talking about him regarding GM gigs somehow made me hate him more. Yeah, I talked about it in here. I think it was very, very kind of phony because he wanted to do GM things. He just didn't want the title. I thought that was a little bit phony. Okay, blood test. All right. Learn something new. You guys keep me on my toes. You guys keep me educated. For sure. Cajun Girl, I work nights. When I get off, I'm waiting on your show to come on at 10:30 p.m. Because I keep you up to date with the Texans. That's what I do, man. That's what we do. The digital game coming through. Cody Stutes and me, we got this going on. How was the you and Stutes powwow? It was good. We had a lot of people there, along with Figgy. Might do something a little bit later on as well. So be on the lookout for that. Got some good stuff coming this season. It's going to be a really, really fun time. Great time to be alive. Great time to be chilling. Great time to be in the digital game. Great time to be covering the Texans, quite honestly, all over the place. There's just so much to freaking talk about and kind of need it with the way the Astros have looked. Be sure to subscribe, like, ride along. Always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Must be a slow news day? Nah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital.